Hello, dear friends, welcome to our YouTube channel, USA Football Zone, latest football highlights. On paper it was a wildly lopsided match. A four-time World Cup winning team faced off against a seemingly insurmountable opponent. The German juggernauts arrived in Bratislava, where they were scheduled to play a routine World Cup qualifier. Who was their opponent? Slovakia, a proud footballing nation that hadn't reached a World Cup finals since 2010. Everyone knew how this story would end: a professional, dominant away victory for Germany, but that is not what happened. The result of the match sent shockwaves through the world of international football. Germany 0, Slovakia 2, and this was no fluke. It was not a victory born of luck, it was a meticulously planned, tactical ambush devised with extreme care and executed with flawless precision. Slovakia didn't merely hope for a good result, they seized it. They didn't just win, rather, they snapped Germany's years-long streak of dominant victories and announced their return to the global stage. So, was it simply luck, or was it a display of tactical footballing brilliance that left the entire world stunned? Let's take a closer look. To truly grasp the significance of Slovakia's success, one must first understand the machine they were up against. Under their new manager, Julian Nagelsmann, Germany had undergone a transformation. What was their strategy? Attacking, direct, and high-tempo football. It was a style built entirely upon overwhelming and suffocating the opposition through technical prowess and exceptional positional play. Nagelsmann's Germany was engineered to dominate possession. Players constantly rotated positions, drifted across the pitch, and probed for gaps in the opposition's defensive lines. A crucial component of this system was the full-backs, the players stationed at the two flanks of the defensive line. They are not merely defenders, they essentially function as a second pair of wingers, players positioned at the two flanks of the attack. Players like Joshua Kimmich are instructed to push far up the pitch, thereby exerting pressure on the opposition and stretching the width of the game. Consequently, Germany's immensely talented attacking midfielders such as Florian Wirtz and Jamal Musiala are able to drift into the midfield and wreak havoc upon the opposing defense. The entire system is designed to pin the opponent back, deny them any respite, and ultimately, through a brilliant pass or a moment of individual brilliance, breach their defensive lines to score. Heading into this match, Germany possessed a reputation for invincibility in World Cup qualifiers that bordered on the mythical. Their away record was nothing short of incredible. Germany had never once suffered a defeat in a qualifying match played away from home. This stood as a testament to their consistently stellar performance. The expectation was not merely that they would win, but that they would exert absolute dominance over the match. It was this very conundrum that confronted Slovakia's coach, Francesco Calzona. How does one stop a team built to dismantle any defense? A team that, in precisely these kinds of scenarios, almost never fails. Francesco Calzona, an Italian tactician honed in the nuanced world of Serie A, knew that he could not fight fire with fire. Attempting to play open, attacking football against Germany would have been an act of self-destruction. Consequently, he devised a strategy grounded in discipline, intelligence, and unwavering faith in his squad. He decided that if Germany wanted the ball, so be it, they could have it, but only in those areas where it would pose no threat. The moment the opening whistle blew, Slovakia organized themselves into a robust and disciplined 4-4-2 formation. This was not merely a case of parking the bus in front of their own goal, it was an intelligent, meticulously crafted defensive wall. Two banks of 4 players each were deployed in a formation designed to deprive Germany of the very element most essential to their style of play: open space in the middle of the pitch. Passing lanes to Germany's creative players were completely cut off. Even Slovakia's forwards were assigned defensive duties. They harried Germany's playmakers from behind, preventing them from dictating the tempo of the game. At the back, the team's leader, Milan Skriniar, was magnificent. He marshaled the defense with the authority of a seasoned general. Just ahead of him, the midfield maestro Stanislav Lobotka proved adept at keeping the game under absolute control. Lobotka's role extended beyond mere tackling. His responsibility also involved reading the game and anticipating play in advance. He orchestrated the movement of his fellow midfielders across the pitch from flank to flank as if they were a single, cohesive unit. He ensured that whenever a German player received the ball, they were immediately met with organized, concerted pressure. His objective was simple: to frustrate Germany, to force them out wide to the flanks. to compel them to deliver crosses into a penalty area packed with tall, powerful defenders, and to emphatically shut down the kind of sharp, intricate passes that their opponents love to play, most the very passes they rely on to break down a defense. For the first 40 minutes, this strategy proved an unqualified success. Germany enjoyed over 70% of the possession. Yet that possession, it proved entirely futile. They were merely passing the ball against Slovakia's defensive wall, and their attacks were becoming increasingly predictable. The German team was growing frustrated, a frustration that was on the verge of boiling over. As the first half wore on, the German players, accustomed to finding solutions to every problem, began to force the issue. Passes went astray, dribbles ran too far ahead. The seeds of doubt sown by Calzona's tactics had begun to sprout, and in the 42nd minute, his plan finally paid off. It began exactly as Slovakia had hoped, with a German error, born of impatience. A risky pass in midfield was brilliantly intercepted. But this was no mere desperate clearance, it was the launchpad for a lightning-fast counterattack. In the blink of an eye, the ball was thrust forward, and suddenly, the entire complexion of the game was turned upside down. The player, David Henko, was on the ball. A defender by trade, Henko found himself with acres of space ahead of him as Germany's high press collapsed. He sprinted straight into the wide-open green expanse of the German half. The German defenders, who had pushed far up the pitch, were thrown into utter panic, scrambling desperately to retreat. But Henko kept running. He carried the ball from his own half deep into German territory. As the German defense backpedaled, unwilling to risk stepping up to dispossess him, Henko looked up. From 25 yards out, he unleashed a rocket of a shot. The ball flew past the goalkeeper's desperate dive and crashed into the net. The stadium in Bratislava erupted in jubilation. Although the goal appeared deceptively simple, its impact was profound. It was not the product of a complex passing sequence. This was the direct result of Slovakia's game plan: absorb the pressure, frustrate the opponent, and with ruthless, unwavering precision capitalize on their very first mistake. They defied the odds and launched a potent counter-attack against Germany, culminating in a flawless strike. The underdog side was now ahead, and for the first time all evening the seemingly invincible Germans appeared vulnerable. That opening goal was the reward for Slovakia's incredible defensive resilience. Yet the true genius of Calzona's strategy had not yet been fully revealed. That tactical masterstroke was set to unfold in the second half, a move that transformed the match from a mere upset into an utter rout for Germany. Calzona had identified a fatal flaw in Germany's system, of vulnerability born precisely out of their own greatest strength. That secret weapon lay in exploiting the open spaces created behind Germany's adventurous fullbacks. In Nagelsmann's system, players like Joshua Kimmich are tasked with adopting winger-like roles, operating high up the pitch and wide along the flanks. When they are in possession, this creates a massive advantage, but the moment they lose the ball, vast gaps or channels open up. Along the touchlines, Germany relies on an aggressive counter-press strategy to win the ball back immediately, but Calzona took a calculated gamble. If his team could simply weather that initial wave of pressure, they would find an open field ahead of them to run into. Thus Slovakia's game plan became two-pronged. In defense, hold their ground firmly and maintain their discipline, but in attack, every time possession changed hands, a specific passing opportunity presented itself, a quick, direct ball into the void behind the German fullbacks. They were not attempting to build up play slowly, they were attempting to turn Germany's own game against them. The Slovak players were instructed to momentarily halt their runs, wait for the German fullbacks to push forward, and then attack those vacated spaces with full force. This was the ambush. It turned Germany's greatest strength, utilizing the full width of the pitch, into their greatest vulnerability. Every time Kimmich ventured forward, he unwittingly created a major threat for his own team. It was a high-risk, high-reward strategy, and it was about to pay off handsomely. By the way, if you are enjoying this detailed analysis of the match, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and ring the bell icon so you don't miss a single episode. As the second half wore on, Germany grew increasingly restless. They pushed more and more players forward, and their team structure began to crumble. Nagelsmann brought on additional attacking players, but with every substitution, his team's defensive balance became even more precarious. Slovakia, on the other hand, remained composed, stuck steadfastly to their game plan, and waited for the perfect opportunity to seal the match. That moment arrived through one of their own substitutions. Calzona sent David Strelec onto the pitch, a young, fast, and powerful attacking player. His instructions must have been simple: stay up front, stay ready, and run into the open spaces. The winning goal was, in essence, a perfect embodiment of this very strategy. A German attack broke down and the ball was cleared, not merely hoofed away, but purposefully directed into the open space. A pass was delivered. Strelec reached the ball in the blink of an eye. He was in the exact position Calzona had prepared him for, one-on-one with Germany's last defender, the world-class Antonio Rüdiger. Rüdiger is a formidable defender, but Strelec, sprinting at full speed into open space, held the advantage. With a clever feint, he shifted the ball onto his stronger foot, leaving Rüdiger rooted to the spot. He raced toward the goal and, with the composure and confidence of a 10-year veteran, beat the goalkeeper and buried the ball in the net. 2-0, game over. The second goal was irrefutable proof of their tactical blueprint. It was no fluke, it was not a matter of luck. It was the precise and calculated outcome of a team that had flawlessly executed a game plan designed to completely dismantle their opponent. They did not merely defend to survive, they utterly crushed one of the world's elite teams with extraordinary intelligence and skill. The final whistle confirmed a result that would be discussed in European football for years to come. Slovakia 2, Germany 0. It was a historic victory not only because of the scoreline but also because of the manner in which it was achieved. It was a triumph of tactics over sheer talent, a victory of wisdom over reputation. Francesco Calzona had provided a blueprint for every team deemed an underdog how to defeat a superpower. This victory rested upon three tactical pillars. First, an impenetrable defense. The compact 4-4-2 formation completely stifled Germany, denying them the central spaces they needed to operate. Second, ruthless and lightning-fast counterattacks. Every moment of possession turnover served as a signal to attack, an opportunity to capitalize on errors through sheer pace and pinpoint precision. And thirdly, the masterstroke was this deliberately targeting the spaces left vacant behind Germany's attacking fullbacks, a tactic that turned their greatest weapon into their biggest vulnerability. This match brought a spectacular end to one of the finest away records in international football. But it was far more than just that. For Slovakia, it was a renaissance, a sign that they are once again ready to compete on the biggest stage. And for the rest of us, it served as a powerful reminder that in this beautiful game, the mind is just as important as the feet. It proved that with the right plan, the right discipline, and the courage to execute it, David the underdog can still defeat Goliath the powerhouse.